Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make a little pull and pop-up card, slider card. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's been around the stamping world for a while. And you pull up the little tab and then the little door pops open and then you've got a little sentiment in the middle. And the stamps I'm using here for the most part are from Art & Echo and About Art Accents. And it's just kind of a fun little card, and you can mail it just in a regular envelope. And then you might want to stamp a little pull here or something so they can pull it back and reveal the special message. I'm going to show you how to make one of these today. It's very quick and easy. I have to give credit to Jennifer McGuire. I saw a video of her doing this, and she did a great job. And I was just going to link to her video, but I did things a little bit differently. I thought it saved a little bit of time, but I mean, total props to Jen McGuire. She always has fabulous tutorials. And I had watched hers before I made this card. So easy. What I'm going to use is this Fiskars paper cutter here because it's what I have. You can obviously use a paper trimmer or a knife and a ruler. I like this because I can easily center up my paper on the grid that is on the mat. And I just need to see where my little fold is, which is right here, so that I can just kind of center up my window. And I am going to just cut this about an inch from the bottom. And I'm not going to cut the top. I'm just going to use my little cutter to get the bottom 3 edges. And I'm going to start like an inch from the top. So I'm going to start at that little crosshair there. But you know, you could use a knife and a ruler. It's or a pair of scissors if you're really handy with scissors. I'm not that good trying to get a nice window cut out with scissors, so I am just using this. Alright, so that probably cut all the way through. If not, I'll just need to pop it out. Yeah, no big deal. And now I'm going to score an inch from the top just so I have like a nice fold for this. And I'm just going to use my Score Buddy. Honestly, I use my Score Pal the most, but this is really handy when working with cards and whatnot. Alright. And that folds back, and we got our little window. And I'm just going to fold this part in half. Just like so. I don't need to score that. I can just run the bone folder over it. Alright, so now I want to use my score tape, and I'm going to tape along all of the edges. Now I could use my double stick tape, but my double stick tape is 1/2 inch wide and the score tape is a lot thinner. So I'm just going to go ahead and put adhesive on 3 sides of this card. I like score tape because I can tear it. I don't have to cut it. And I know it seems like not a big deal, but honestly, it just saves a lot of time and aggravation. I don't even need to go the whole length. It's going to be kind of like a guide for the little pocket tag to work on here. I'm just going to put a couple little tiny pieces, then peel off the backing paper. Really like the score tape. And my scoreboard, my Score Pal. 2 things I use quite a bit. And just fold this in half and seal it up. Now I've got a little, this is a pre-folded card, a pre-made card. It's by Can Company. Got it probably 8 years ago. It's been a long time. But there's one thing I notice about pre-folded cards, and not necessarily the Can Company ones, but a lot of brands, you fold them up and you'll have an overhang of a little bit. And so I had about 1/16 of an inch hanging over, so I just used my paper trimmer and trim that off. Alright, so now the fun part. Now we get to do some stamping. We're just going to set this aside for right now. And I am going to use this pretty image I just got from About Art Accents. It's a it's like a geisha with a bunny. It's Year of the Rabbit, I think, the Chinese zodiac. And I just got some Year of the Rabbit stamps that are so nice. Inking that up with Brilliant Blue by Stampin' Up, to me it looks the closest to, your Chinese pottery. I don't know if it's the exact shade or not, but it's the closest one I have. Even the Broken China by Tim Holtz, a lot of people use that for, the blue Asian stuff. It doesn't look that Chinese enough to me. So I'm using a Rock-a-Block here. I love the curved stamp mounts, especially for a detailed image. So we've got a beautiful image there. It's stamped really well. And while I'm at it with the ink, I'm going to stamp inside my window here. And I'm going to use this ATC frame. And I always think I'm going to make ATCs all the time. I have yet, well, I've made a few, not very many. But I love these frames because they're really handy for scrapbooking or card making. It's nice if you don't have time to do like a really elaborate card, you can stamp something like this, put a sentiment in it, and you're done. It's just so lovely. And another tip, when you have a detailed, anytime you're stamping actually, you know, you should do this. It's not just stamp it, lift it off. That's when you get your blotchy images. You wanna like press it, but let it sit for a second, especially if it has a lot of rubber inked up area, if it's like a solid area, because that will give time for the ink to transfer. Now look how pretty that is. Look how nice and detailed I got it. Now on the bottom part, I'm going to stamp a sentiment, and this sentiment is actually a old personal stamp exchange stamp. It's from 2000. I think I got it in 2000. It's one of the first stamps I ever owned. I think I made my wedding card, my wedding thank yous with this, and I'm just going to stamp that right in the bottom half, so when you open the card you don't have to pull it all the way open to see the sentiment. Okay, now we need to trim this out. I'm just going to use my little guillotine cutter. Ooh, I got a little bit of paper stuck in there with some adhesive on it. Oh, you know what? The stuff I just trimmed, there was a little bit of score tape sticking out of the edge and it stuck to my blade. What do you know? Another not so perfect video, but I am not doing a retake. That's how I roll. Keeping it real. Actually, I'm just lazy. But, you know, who cares really? Okay, you've got that. I'm going to want to mat that with blue. Got some blue cardstock here. I'm just going to trim that down to mat it. And I'll stick it down first. That blue is pretty close. Close enough. I don't get too picky. You know, if the color's close enough, I go with it. As long as it's not clashing or looking terribly out of place. I don't spend hours looking for the perfect shade of anything. You could spend your whole life looking for the perfect this or perfect that and never get a thing made. Alright, so that is matted. And we'll go back to our card base. I want to do a little inking on the edges. I'm going to do it right on this mat and then I'll just clean the mat off afterwards. I'm not going to go and grab a scrap of paper. Sometimes I'll use a magazine, and I'll keep a magazine under my work, and then I'll just turn the page when it's time to use another, when I have to ink something else. That works really well. In fact, I should have done that. I got a magazine sitting over there. So, kind of messy. This did a better job on my sample. I must have taken a little more time. I'm probably going to ink all over the back of the card too. So, there you go. A magazine would work a lot better to ink your stuff on. Nobody's going to be looking at the back of the card. It's not a Hallmark card. Nobody's going to be looking on the back to see how much you paid for it. It's a handmade card. Alright, so I'm going to put my panel here. I'm going to attach it to that. It's almost like an easel card, the same idea. I'm going to do a couple little pieces of adhesive here using my trusty double-sided tape that is the Scotch 3M brand. I'm gonna lay that flat when I stick it on and kind of line it up to the bottom and make sure it's centered on my panel. A little more awkward to do this while I'm doing a video. Now, I've got to make the slider pull tab thingamabob, and I'm going to go ahead and score this because I know I need to have a little score line here. So I'm just going to do that right off the bat. I'm going to score it at about 1/2 inch. That's plenty of tab, and I'm going to slide this into my card like so. Kind of see where it ends up. I want that to go. There we go. Now I want to make a mark here. I can see my score line. I didn't shove it all the way down. I'm going to make a mark on each side because when I'm looking here at the tab and I'm seeing that it is kind of centered. I got the same amount of space on each side. And I'm going to make a little mark here with a pencil. on each edge so I can cut that off. Now, pull this out. And one more thing I want to do here is punch a little spot for me to be able to pull the tab out. And I want to use my decorative flourish. I'm going to use my decorative flourish punch for this. And I should have done that probably before I put the panel on there, but it's no big deal. I'm going to center that and give it a quick little punch here. There we go. And that will just give us an obvious place to pull the tab out from. And with my scissors that I actually have handy, which is lovely when that happens, I'm going to cut out these corners. And I'm going to just fold that tab up. So then when I slide this in, I will know exactly where I want to attach my pull-up piece. So I'm going to attach my pull-up piece right there with just a little bit of double-sided tape or score tape. And I think it's 1/2 inch. It's the exact same width as it, but it's going to be hard to get that exactly lined up since it's the same width. So I'm going to go with the 1/4 inch score tape. All right. I'm going to adhere this right to the bottom of that. And I'm going, oh, see how that works? It's so simple. It goes so well. I'm going to trim. You want to open and close it a few times to get it going good. I'm going to trim off the edge because I don't want this to poke out. So I want this to be able to be mailed in a normal envelope, a normal A4 size envelope. That's the size of the card I started with. So I'm just going to put that in there and slice off whatever's hanging out. I think I need to de-gunk my blade. I got some adhesive on there. So I'm going to pull this up and round my corners just because I think it's a little pretty when you do that. It's up to you. You don't have to. And I'm going to punch a hole for ribbon. I want the big hole, so it's on this side, and I want to try to center it up as well as I can. Well, it's a little off center, but who cares? And I'm going to use a little of this nice blue ribbon, you know, the kind that goes on sale for spools for $1 at Joann's or AC Moore every few months. Love that stuff. I'm just going to put a little up here. Now, this is where I would write my message, up here on this tag, but it's up to you. You can write a message in there. It's completely up to you. You could stamp on this, you could leave it plain. It's completely whatever you want to do. Now to match this, I want to decorate a little bit with this ribbon. So I'm just going to slide that down again. It does start to go a little smoother once you've used it a few times. And I'm going to do a line of glue here to hold some ribbon, and I'm using my Helmar 450 because I really like this for sticking ribbon down. It doesn't bleed through my ribbon. It's also thick enough and quick grab enough that I can do buttons with it and rhinestones and all those sorts of embellishments. So it's really, really handy stuff. And I am going to stick this into the ribbon. And another tip I have, and you probably all know this, especially if you sew, is to keep a pair of scissors for ribbon and fabric only, because after a while your regular paper scissors are not going to cut ribbon very neatly. It'll fray it, it'll be nasty. So keep a pair of scissors just for your ribbon. And I tie a little piece of ribbon on it, and my husband teases me and he says, oh, I'm gonna go wrap some presents. I'll use your ribbon scissors to cut my my wrapping paper. He thinks he's hilarious. That's his little joke around Christmas time, because I have a wrapping station set up in my craft room. For embellishments, I'm gonna just do like a blue button and a couple rhinestones, because when in doubt, add a rhinestone. I'm gonna start saying that now. I was kidding about that in the last video, but I'm gonna start saying it. It's a great saying, don't you think? And one of these blue buttons here. It's kind of pretty. You don't have to add any embellishments, actually. The nice thing about Asian cards is that they're really bound to be simple. They look nice when they're simple. I'm going to show you another trick because I love this. Whenever you need to thread a button, but you want the look of a threaded button, but you know you're a little lazy, you can use just a little sliver of cardstock and slide it through the buttonholes. And I'm telling you what, no one's really going to notice. And it looks great, and it's so quick, and you don't have to get out your thread and needle. I'm going to clip this off. glue that down. That's a little thicker than I normally use, but I already had it cut and it was sitting right here, and as we've established, I'm lazy, so I'm going to use that. Center that right there in the middle. And rhinestone on each side, because when in doubt, add a rhinestone. And remember to shut your glue when you're done with it so you don't end up with a big glue booger on the end. And I think I'm going to leave my rhinestones white. On the other one, I colored them with a blue permanent marker. The brush end seems to work really well for coloring rhinestones. I'm not sure if I'm so hot on that idea for this card. I think the clear looks better. But so when your recipient, oh my gosh, this went so smoothly before I started doing the video. When your recipient gets their card in the mail, you might want to have pull written there or something so they know what the heck to do with it and they don't tear the card up trying to get to the middle. Pull the thing open and voila, there is your stamped sentiment. It's so easy. It's a fun card to do. Doesn't use really any more supplies than a regular card. Uses a regular card base. It's a lot of fun, so I do hope you try it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting!